Ian Gordon here, Brock University librarian, doing a video for our presentation on November 7th to the Computer Science Scholar Resources Library Workshop. Hopefully this will be a benefit to you. I'm a teaching and learning librarian, been here many years. I help faculty, staff, postdocs, and graduate students do research, find resources, or just review their need to find information to remain current and complete their thesis in the appropriate time. This particular seminar will have a number of things. Here's the structure. I'm going to talk about what's new in the library, a computer science library research guide, databases, well, there's lots of them. We'll go over help with writing resources, some homework, where, how, and when to get help. So what's new in the library this year? Well, if you go to the library homepage and you click on Advanced for our Omni search engine, there's a number of features there as well. One of the features is a new enabled resource sharing opportunities guide. So if you look for a book or resource in our library and we don't have it, it goes to all other Ontario University libraries except U of T and sees if it's there. And if it's there, it asks you, prompts you, do you want the library to get it for you? If you sign in with your proxy authentication, like you get into Brightspace, you say yes, and it gets it from another library, brings it here, then emails you, tell you it's here, and allows you to sign it out at the Ask Us desk for 90 to 100 days. So it's pretty complete. So you have access not only to Brock's resources, but all other most other Ontario University libraries. The other thing on this particular form is you can see where interlibrary loan is. We don't have Racer anymore. It may not mean anything to you, but you used to get items from Racer, whether that be parts of books, or articles in digital format as well. The philosophy of the service hasn't changed, but how you do it, where you do it, does change. So if you click on this guide, I know it's hard to read, but you can get books, ebooks, or chapters. If you know what you're looking for, we find it. You don't have to worry about that. We'll get it for you. If it's in less than 10% of a book, they digitize it and send you a PDF. Or if it's an article or paper, you fill out the form. We'll get it and send it to you in digital format, usually in 2 or 3 days, no more than a week. Again, don't pay for anything. Brock Interlibrary loans. Books, ebooks, or chapters of books, or articles or papers can be gotten free of charge to help you with your research. Another thing new this year is the newly formatted library research guides. There's a guide for computer science. It's a welcome to a front page, and on the front page is this particular seminar slides, and I've just attached the video to it as well. You look for articles, books, other sorts of things. There's help on the left-hand side from chat and email and research support. So it looks a bit differently. It's an undergraduate tool, but it will help you as well. Tim Ribera was the academic librarian for computer science. He did an amazing job for a number of years. He's left that position, still at Brock. He's the digital scholarship librarian, and right now he's a PhD student. So you may see Tim on campus somewhere, not anywhere, but he's on leave doing his PhD here in Brock until July 2024. Whether he'll return to this particular capacity, I'm not sure. But Tim was an excellent resource. Reach out for him if you think you need him. There's new databases at Brock. These come to us from the engineering program that's officially to start this coming September. InSpec is a huge database. It controls chapters, books, patents, videos. It goes way back and is an essential source for physics, but also for computer science as well. Here's a record for all Brock University records in this particular database, 1,450, which isn't too bad. You can rank them, sort them, search for them by controlled language, natural language, by author. Here's an article that's here, and we insert our Find It at Brock references as well. So here's that citation by one of your professors. It gives you the title of the author, the DOI, the affiliations, the abstract, but most importantly, here's the indexing for the controlled and uncontrolled terms and classification. So search for an article you may think is simple. Throw a couple words in a phrase and see what comes out, but really you need to know what words they use to describe certain phenomena, some terms, some objects, and some classification codes as well. So when you do a search, you don't look at too many records, or you don't miss things of peripheral interest. Here's an example of an article by one of your professors. Here's a citation that produced. Go to the database, and there's other tools to produce citations. I and you should use ZeroBib. It's free, it's open, here's the link for it. I clicked on the DOI for this article and clicked on the style at the bottom. APA is one of the top 5 they give you. And here's the citation. Well, it's pretty good. So you can cut and paste this into an email address, you can add it to an essay or a reference or correspondence. But APA is the de facto citation format for increasingly a number of science particular programs. The reason why APA, though it's psychology, covers a lot of formatting standards, and it's always kept current. So it's usually the de facto for most sciences and general programs as well. Zotero Bib, bookmark it, you'll use it all the time. And if you have a citation management system, we promote and use Zotero. Here's my desktop account. It also mimics to a cloud account. Put it in a file, click on the DOI, and puts a citation here so you can click citations, keep a record of your notes and tags. So if you're not using Zotero Bib or Zotero, make an appointment and we can help you with how to manage your citations. Here's the cloud account of Zotero. So it looks exactly similar, and they're backed up or synced appropriately. The cloud account allows you to create groups. So you and your facilitator or you and a couple other students can create a group Zotero citation management account. And it's really effective for group projects. And the Zotero Word app. I use this every now and then. So Zotero is one of the options in Word. You can add a citation or add a bibliography. So if you're writing a paper, and this paper will explore zone-based popularity-oriented caching as a tool too. If you put in the citation using the tool, it puts it automatically in your reference list. Similarly, if you take it out, it takes it out of your reference list. So when you're done your writing, you've done your citations. Wow, that's really amazing. We can show you how that works as well. Another new database is Compendix. Again, it's engineering, it's standards, technical engineering. It has a wide swath of interests, and it applies to computer sciences as well. You've got to know what you're searching for, why you would search it. And just another important database we've brought here because of its engineering potential, but it's certainly relevant to computer sciences. There's 2,279 records in Compendix. It has Brock University as an affiliated author. You can rank, sort, search, but again, searching is tricky. Searching the database, you have to think like the database. Here's an example of a record from one of your computer science professors, authors, titles. See, the ORCID IDs are for authors, such that your authors are identified by code rather than by name, DOIs, and again, the index of controlled and uncontrolled vocabularies. Important to know what words describe what concepts. Another new database is IEEE Explore. It's a digital library of standards, ebooks, technical books. It's kind of like manuals and handbooks. IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, certainly has potential for computer science. Here's a sample record of you search for and find. It gives you a link to it. You can access it. And here's an example of a handbook or a chapter of a book that you could use. Again, note the controlled vocabulary of keywords and author keywords and how they use different words to describe certain phenomena when you search, and they use natural language as well as in titles and abstracts and keywords. Again, Zotero Bib with a DOI helps you to find it. And if you look at the bottom, it says IEE style. Zotero Bib, like Zotero, allows you to change into 10,000 current standards for the particular project or style that's required of you for a particular paper or correspondence or a manuscript that you're writing as well. Here's that paper. You've got to read the paper to know what beyond the title and abstract and indexing may be relevant to you, and you can cite it using any number of ways, including Zotero. Another database is called Access Engineering. That's a referencing technical platform for handbooks and upper-level textbooks as well. Here's an example of a chapter of a book on, again, I have no idea what this means, CompTIA security and beyond. It may be available to you, but you'd search for it and use it and cite it and download it. It also has articles that may be scraped from different types of journals and packages and societies. Here's an article that I found in that particular database. Another thing that's new, you should always check our events and workshops in the library. Here's 3 on our front page recently: building better research, how to speak in plain language communication. Wow. What graduate student wants to be able to have that skill or develop or know where to get help for that? Modeling in Blender, a grad student writing cafe every Wednesday from 12 to 2 in the Rankin Family Pavilion. There's a writing cafe where you can go and an expert will help you to write, form an idea, stylize something as well. I go there and help out every once in a while, every Wednesday from 12 to 2. You can click on more events, and here's some of the events that we've had over the while. Again, new things, yoga, I don't know, mindful folding, origami, but more technical things, podcasting, studio work, visualization, working with particular programs. The makerspace, you can see it in the Rankin Family Division, is pretty new. We've had it for a couple of years. But they have a number of programs and standards and resources you could loan out or use to do practically anything. The Digital Scholarship Lab is part of the Brock University Library. How to visualize your data, map your data, add your data to repositories, add a license or copyright to an idea, a manuscript, a paper, a project, or a poster you've done. The Digital Scholarship Lab helps you to move through those particular stages of thinking, doing, and writing. They put out a number of workshops that come up every once in a while, collaborating with Vision Control, GitHub. Here for the month of November, data visualization contest. Hey, win $25. If you haven't a workshop that may be of interest or it's gone past, and then you can look at what they've given in the past and you go, Python, GitHub, R, Tableau, oh, could you give this again? They'd be more than happy to send you the materials for that particular workshop, or if one or two of you got together, they'd actually offer the workshop to you as a learning resource. They do these at least once a term, or you can wait till next term when they come up and request them again. Last thing about being new to the library, if on the 6th floor of our library, if you've been up there, take the elevators inside the library, there's a classroom with swipe access just for graduate students. Pretty neat, hey? Just for graduate students. There's a classroom next to it where you can present ideas or meet as a group and reserve this particular classroom or workshop lab, however you want to do it, this room on the left. And there's lockers that you can use. So you would ask the Graduate Student Association or ask at the help desk at the basement of the library, and they can help you where to get information. So you get a locker, know how to reserve this room, and get access to this particular controlled space, all for graduate students. So that's what's new in the library. Lots of things change. Ask if you need help. Let's look at the library research guide. So here it is, and if you look at the articles tab for this research guide, there's lots of databases. So the guide is aimed towards undergraduate students. It tells you there's a plethora of open AI-assisted databases, Google Scholars up front, ACM Digital Library, IEEE Triple Explorer, Inspect, Compendex, Web of Science Core Collection. So each database covers and overlaps and has particular uses. So really navigating through this plethora of databases, which one do I use, how do I use it, and how do I get the most of it, and then go back and use it again. This tab also has books, so you can find out what books in our library. Omni is our library database to find books and parts of books, like chapters and edited papers in books. There's other book databases, including Google Books, but WorldCat at the bottom answers the question, what books have been published? Scholarly and non-scholarly, over the past 50 to 100 years. Here's a sample of books that have been published. Python in a nutshell, Predicting the Unknown, a general book about AI. Here's a book by a private publisher as opposed to a scholarly publisher, Artificial Intelligence and Academic Integrity. Here's one by Springer on the right-hand side, which is a conference. Computer science has lots of conferences or edited books with papers from different people. If you find a paper or a part of this you want and it's not in our library, ask for it. We'll show you how to get it. Or if you know you're looking for it, just request it. If we don't have it and you search for it, you can email us at libhelp@brocku.ca or fill out this form. As long as you know what you're looking for. We usually buy almost everything everybody asks for. And then if it's in digital format, which is our preferred format, we'll actually email you within 24 hours and say, here it is, go ahead and use it. And when you request it, maybe somebody else may be thankful for that you did this as well. So always think of recommending a purchase for our library. We're glad to get your feedback. Under the Grey Literature tab, not only articles and books, but Grey Literature is, I call them, they're not books, so they're not articles. There's lots of databases. It's how to define something. There's some encyclopedias and dictionaries, patent standards, theses, and OERs. Theses and dissertations. If you're a graduate student, really, who has written a thesis or dissertation somewhat or exactly related on your topic in the last 10 years? Or has written something about it that you could look at as well? Theses and dissertations are Grey Literature, such that they're not books or articles, and so there's lots of databases, whether our Brock University database, Canadian International. So it's really tricky, and we can help you to find nothing better than finding a thesis or dissertation that's related to your research. The Brock University Digital Repository has, and hopefully your thesis will go into this repository. And you can search for this for full text, looking for keywords. Find a thesis on your particular topic, or find a thesis by someone who your facilitator worked with, just to get an idea of what it should look like, how it reads, ideas, how to present your data. Really a valuable resource. And there's other theses that are international, and there's lots of databases. This is just the top 10%. So it's really tricky to find another thesis or dissertation related to research, but it's worth a try. It's worth its weight in gold. Here's an example of a professor's thesis, dissertation, 2012. It's open, it's free, you can use it to look at the table of contents, look at their lit review, look at their citations, their ideas, their presentation, their methodologies, and their concluding remarks as well. Really important resources that aren't in most libraries, but not too difficult to find, but certainly worth the search. In Grad literature, not only find theses and dissertations, you find patents. Now, patents are important to computer science people because ideas or intellectual property is patented by a business or a person. There's lots of patent databases, and it's a really specialized area of research, but we can help orientate you to what goes first. I always use ESPASnet, which is produced by the European Patent Organization, as the most comprehensive and robust international patent citation database. It's really amazing, and it's free and open to use. And it usually covers the patents in most major patent agencies, whether they be American or European or Chinese or Korean. So it's a 1 mega patent search engine, but there's many ways of looking at this. Here's an example of a patent from ESPASnet. I put in a number, but you can search by keywords and titles, and it'll pull up the citation, which is open. And on the right-hand side, it could be 10 or 20. This one was 3 pages long, gives you some documentation and diagrams that may be appropriate to your research. Always think, are there articles, books, theses, dissertations, and always in computer science, is there a patent or an intellectual property item that may relate to my research or your research as well? Every patent has a description and has a claims, meaning what is new or novel about this, that it was worthy of patenting. Drawings, the original document in the original language, citations that came with it, and then a structure or controlled vocabulary of legal and patent family structures. This is really legalese. But if you find one in the European Patent Agency ESPASnet database, it's transliterated in all other languages in the European Union, plus usually Mandarin, Korean, and other languages as well. So you can actually find a citation patent in Korean, and it's transliterated into English. Amazing research. Last thing I'm going to show you on this page, not only patents and theses and dissertations, but standards. And they're really important in computer science as well. Standards are either produced by an association or an organization on the left, so it has like a catalog of different things related to different types of computer science research. And on the right-hand side, we have actually subscribed to the full text of these databases for some of these patent standard agencies as well. Really, you have to think like the database and search, and we can help you with that. So there you go, patent standards, theses, dissertations, lots of things. Let's move on to databases. There are lots of them. So here's a diagram of all the databases that I search for in computer science. The green ones are open. They access literature. The literature may not be open and accessible, and the ones in black are proxy or proprietary databases. So moving through the proxy access gives you access to them because we pay for them in the library at no cost to you. So which database do you use? Do you use more than one database? In an AI-driven database world, increasingly, there's more than less databases. It would be nice if there's one database that did everything for you, but really there's more than less. Each has its own uniqueness, covers its own formatting and languages and document types, and does it in different ways, such that there's probably one more database. If you're just using 1 or 2 databases, if you're just using Omni or Google Scholar, or Google or Advanced Google, you're probably not scraping the appropriate literature you should need for your thesis or any particular research work as well. Scopus is striked out here because it's another major database we don't have in our library, but maybe somebody at another institution will provide you access to it as well. So if you go to our Brock Library homepage, there's a tab under Search, Databases, and Google Scholar. If you click on the Databases tab, it tells you there are databases, 411 of them we've indexed. There's an entry for each one of them. On the right-hand side gives you the proxy URL to move through it so it knows that you're on or off campus, but you belong to the Brock community, never pay for anything. It allows you access to these things as well. So which databases do you use? It's often a good question to ask yourself. If you go back to this page and you click on Google Scholar, I always start my researches with it as well. Google Scholar is a pretty blunt instrument. We don't know what it's searching. It searches for a lot, but if you go through the proxy access and you search for virtual reality as a phrase in Java, on the right-hand side, it attempts to find holdings for our library. As we send Google all our holdings for journals, articles, and books and chapters of books in our library as well. So not only do you find something, it gives you a pretty good chance to find it in an open repository or in our library as well. On the top right-hand side, if you have a Gmail account, you can build a profile. It keeps track of these things, and you can sign in. Because when you click on a particular entry in Google Scholar, it asks you to save, so that's where it goes. Cite, which actually works quite well, gives you a citation style for that. And also gives you cited by, so forward citation searching. So the article at the top, the virtual reality modeling language in Java, was cited by 207 people in this database collective for some reason. It's just great to search for and find things as well. Scholar is actually a bibliographic databases. So for this professor at Brock, there's their cited references, their publications, and the bibliometrics that tell you how productive and what sort of impact it makes moving through these particular articles. Kind of neat picture of Dr. Hughes' research. Web of Science does the same sort of thing, using its own resources and databases. It actually maps out the publications and citations over time, gives you nominal data, and calculates citation rates and H-indexes and factors to give a sense of how productive or how sort of impact this researcher makes as well. Dimensions databases, so those are the three databases I use to tell this story. It gives you the same sort of information. It gives you more. It tells you what concepts and fields of research, what co-authors have this professor worked with, funding, and lists all the publications and citations. So how successful are you keeping up to date with news and scholarly information in your field? Whether you're a faculty member, a graduate student, a postdoc, a new student, it's a question you should ask yourself. It's part of my particular research as an academic librarian. I produced 3 papers over a number of years, 4 years, where I investigated the information-seeking behaviors of chemists, mathematicians, and physicists across Ontario libraries. We asked the question, how successful are you keeping up to date with news and scholarly information? And you had 3 replies. One was, I'm not really successful, I could do better. I'm somewhat successfall, I use a variety of resources. Or I'm successful, I believe I keep on top of new developments, knowing it's a changing paradigm as you move through an academic career. So what would you put in here? How would you answer this question? Well, for 538 participants in these 3 studies, a majority of them, 54.1%, they were somewhat successful to use a variety of resources, which indicates they're always learning, they're always looking at academic librarians and library resources or their colleagues to find out, how can I do this better? 31.8%, so they're not really successful, I could do better. So they admitted they could learn better how to use these tools. And only 14.1% said they were successful, which to me is kind of tragic. You think people in a scholarly community, being computer science people, would be on top of these sorts of things, but that's not the story we tell. 3 themes that came from this research: too much information and not enough time to keep up to date, such that it's coming at you like a fire hose. And I don't have time to analyze the research that's coming out, never mind staying on top of it. One participant in a study said, one problem is just the overall explosion of material and the reduction of my time. I think all of us never seem to have enough time. That's probably universal. I think that way, and probably you do as well. Another theme from our research was staying up to date is important, especially in competitive research areas. Yeah, staying up to date is really important. It's even more important whether time, energy, or you don't want to be scooped with a particular idea. A participant responded in this way, said, we're all doing sort of cutting edge things, and we need to know where we stand compared to others. If something has been done, we should know about it and not do the same thing. Really, staying competitive, even as a graduate student, because things are coming at you so fast, is really important over the lifetime of you doing your research. The last theme that came out was, we can do better. So collectively, the participants said, we can do better. Here's a quote. There's a tendency to just try to throw something into Google Scholar. I do it, you do it, everybody does it. Some sort of training for faculty, staff, or students at all levels as to how to make best use of the ever-increasing amount of information that we are available would really be valuable. We can help. That's all I can say. So this is a topic. Let's say, like your thesis, dissertation, or your question, or your research query. What are the information-seeking behaviors of college and university students? So you really need to think like the database and break this down and search more than one database. I always use this graphic representation. So my themes are information seeking. I'm looking at my population of students, and I'm studying behaviors. I want to know what databases do I search, how old is the literature when it's too old, what languages other than English I should be searching, what disciplinary focuses besides computer science would be valuable to me, what formatting. Should I look at conference proceedings, chapters of books, theses, dissertations, patents, standards? You have to think through this so that you, in control and driving the bus, meeting your information needs. Here I throw things into Google Scholar when I try to find things. Information seeking behavior is a phrase in students to see what's out there. Semantic Scholar is a database I tend to use and throw things at it and see what comes back to find names and resources. Language controlled subjects and natural language that tends to grasp the concepts of my research question. Figshare is a database I never can avoid. Maybe you've never used it. It looks at descriptions of the textual descriptions of charts, figures, graphs, pictures, and all Scholar resources because they are indexed in any particular database and finds visual representations of that data and links it to a particular citation. Really powerful if you're looking for data or just a different way of looking for research. Figshare is a database of choice. One of the new AI databases undergraduates are using all the time is Elicit. You ask it a question, it finds the most key papers, cites those, and actually uses ChatGPT to start your essay on your left-hand side. Wow, kind of scary. But most databases are getting into this now. Dimensions is a really nice database, though this is hard to see. I put in a research question or topic or phrases, controlled in natural language, pulls up citations and ranks them and sorts them by how I want to use them. But on the right-hand side, categorizes those. It gives you a time chart, identifies the top, and sorts out and ranks the top researchers and titles that may be of interest to you. Gives you more value-added information. Web of Science is probably behind Google Scholar the most important database you should search. It's interdisciplinary. It's just not science, it's social science, arts and humanities. It covers all core computer science journals. And your own natural language, and every database has its peculiarity. So I'm looking for information near 2 words on either side of the word seeking, and the title. So you map out a strategy. I'm looking for behavior. I'm looking for my population of words in the title. And I search, and I found 127 records. I'm often asked, is that too many, too few, or just right? When you're driving the bus, you don't want to look at too many research citations that you're wasting time, but you don't want to look at too few that you miss things of peripheral interest. You can use filters in each database to sort by date, by language, and by format. But in this database, which is unique to us at Brock University, you can analyze these 127 results by different ways. You can create a citation report, who cited all these articles, or you can create an alert, meaning you tell the database when you sign in, run this search for me every day, 24/7, 7 days a week, and send me by email the citations in the preferred format of new things that I haven't looked at before, a way of keeping on top of the literature. I do this in a number of databases. Web of Science, like every database, has its own file formats, so you can analyze by authors, who are the top authors, who are the top sources of publications, never mind the citations that are most frequently cited, ranked, or touched. Here's an alert in Web of Science I run. So I run it for all my publications, see if it's cited in this particular database. It'll tell me. Somebody cited your research paper. Here it is as well. So I create alerts by journals, so you can get the table of contents for journals, the searches that I run and I want to keep updated, or I'm tracking authors or research teams. So there's a number of types of citation alerts. You can run them yourself manually, but I run them automatically and have them sent to me once a month. Here's an alert I run in Medline, which is a medical sciences database. I just want to know what's happening at Brock University. So for October 2023, it sent me 48 citations in the preferred style format by email with links embedded into Brock University library content. And I have the 48 there. I may look at 2 of them. I may grab one of them and put them into Zotero so I have a record of them before. It keeps me aware of what's going on between when I start my research, I formalize my research question, I do my research, or before I present my findings to colleagues or defend it at a thesis defense. Here's a graphic. Define your research question or topic. That may be easy, but crafting it. Am I always answering my research question? Am I thinking like the database? What database do I pick? Identify key concepts and keywords like I did. Build your research database specific. Run your search, evaluate your search, and refine it. I find most graduate students and even faculty know exactly what they're looking for, but you have to think like the database and run it and modify it as your research question needs change over time. So here we go. What's new in the library, the guide, lots of databases, help with writing resources as we conclude. So the writing workshop, I told you, it's great. One-on-one contact if writing doesn't come to you. We have style guides in our library for all the major styles, including one that you may choose to use. And style guides are not only about formatting and margins and what goes where, but how do you develop an idea? How do you present your information? Really essential tools. One of the guides that we use is put out by Purdue University. It's called OWL, Online Writing Lab. It's excellent. So we don't recreate it. It's a great resource to how to develop an idea and write effectively. You may use one of these tools. Grammarly. Some graduate students do. ChatGPT. Wow. It's the research topic du jour. And there's other. I can fill the screen with 20 or 30 other of these sorts of things. They're great. But asking your colleagues or the writing workshop or myself, what do you use to help you to be a better writer? Could help you set yourself in the right direction. We do subscribe to books, usually in digital format. Here's something that will help you to be a better writer. Thesis or dissertation, writing in a second language, if English isn't your first language. How to write a phenomenological dissertation. Wow, that's a lot of words. This is how to write a better thesis. I really like this one. It's current. The dissertation journey, practical guide, a comprehensive guide to planning, writing, and defending your dissertation. You may go, well, I know all this. There's nothing out there. There's a chapter or section of the book that may help you. Go, I never thought of that, but that makes sense for me as well. Here's an example, The Productive Graduate Student Writer, writing a dissertation, and an excellent quote. Good reading. Here's another book, Thriving as a Graduate Writer, writing in graduate school, why it feels so hard. Maybe this is you. I'm going to ask you, these are chapters in the book. I feel like I should already know how to write. I feel like my writing difficulties mean I don't belong here. Hopefully you don't feel that way. I feel like I'm alone in my writing struggles. No, you're not alone. Everybody struggles with writing. In the last chapter, I feel like academic writing can't be done well. Well, it can. Sometimes it comes easily, sometimes it doesn't. There's people here to help you. If indeed writing is a barrier or something you need to work on. Then there's books about particular disciplinary types of writing. Writing successful undergraduate dissertations in games development, computer science. There aren't too many style guides for writing in computer science. The classic one is Writing for Computer Science by Zobel. Here's a new one on ChatGPT, or just general ones about mastering your thesis. Ask your colleagues or your facilitator, or ask your academic librarian, what would you suggest would work for me? And these are the top ones that are kind of interesting ones and examples. Enjoy writing your science thesis or dissertation. So one dedicated to science may be just as applicable to computer science. Enjoy writing. Oh, man. Wow. Refining your academic writing. This is the one by Thompson I recommend to everyone. Yeah, we have it in our library in digital format. Grab it, use it, browse through it, go through the chapters. Style writing, academic style writing by Sword. Here's one I found more recently. Writing Without Fear, Edit Without Mercy. Well, there's a book everyone should read. So here's your homework. We're just about at the end. Things I didn't go over. Do you have a data management plan? So you capture data. Where do you put it? How do you put it? Do you have a plan to archive it and to keep it as a supplementary form of information that deals with your thesis or a paper or a manuscript or a poster that you've been doing? If you have a tri-agency grant or your facilitator does or faculty member does, you need to develop a data management plan. Ask, we can help you to do that. Have you ever searched for business or news information that informs your research? News, newspaper, newswire, business-related research. You may think there is no application, but there's always a business story that relates to it. And it helps color, flavor, augment, put a real impact story on your research. Usually every thesis has a number of theses and dissertations, standards, patents it may, other sorts of forms, mainly journal articles, but yet you should have a news article or business article that relates to your research as well, included in your manuscript. Another question is, what is your impact and how best to mobilize your knowledge? This is huge. There's a whole office dedicated to this in the Office of Research Services, how to mobilize your data. What are you going to do with it? How do you create it in a format that it can be used by other people, rather than just sits on the shelf and never been introduced or included in applications? Knowledge mobilization. And if you have a tri-agency grant or your faculty member or facilitator does, they have to answer this question up front. Not only do you have a data management plan, but how do you intend to mobilize your knowledge or your data or your publication? Last thing I'm going to ask everyone, if you have an ORCID ID, that's great. If you don't, get one. Register. It's free, it's open. This number is increasingly important for tri-agencies in Canada or publication or just research. And it also helps document your name in a data repository that's increasingly becoming the standard choice for people who have maybe unique names or general names, but any name. An ORCID ID, if you don't have one, get one. So here we go. We're nearly in. Where, how, and when to get help. The Brock Computer Science Research Guide. Hey, we've gone through that. Email the library during the work day. This isn't working, or how do I get this, or can you help me with that? The chat, there's an Ask Us Chat button on every library page. I use these through the day, early evening, and even on weekends during busy times of the academic year. So how do you cite this, or where can I find this, or this isn't working? There's always someone at the end of the Ask Us Chat. And if you want, book a consultation. If you click on this link, it brings up an app that has my name if you want to meet with me or somebody else, the day and the time that may be available. And it'll ask you, so what do you want to meet? You could say, could you show me Zotero? I'm searching for, I can't find information on this topic. Is there a thesis or dissertation we can help find that may supplement, or a data management plan, anything, whether it's something that you go, I have no idea how to start this, or something very specific. You can book a consultation, we can meet in person or Teams, and this works out quite well. I see a lot of computer science graduate students this way. Hopefully, this has helped you. So you're cool, calm, and collective, doing online work, using your phone to use all the resources in the library, as well as our intellectual practice and expertise. So there I am. Email me at any time. If you're using a non-Brock email alias, put Brock or my name in the subject line so it doesn't go to my junk mail. But I can usually answer any query at any particular time. So good luck with your program of study. And hopefully we can touch base at any time. Thanks for those who attended this computer science graduate seminar, faculty members that were entertaining by it. Hopefully this will help. All the best.